Okay, so let me quickly talk about the things that we will be doing with respect to the applications here. So this is a Heroku platform. The Heroku platform is basically given or developed by Salesforce. It was launched, I think, in 1997, or I'm not sure. I cannot recollect the exact year, but it's developed by Salesforce. You have to create your Heroku account. It's very simple. You can log into your, let's say, Heroku website, right? And you can sign up. Okay, you can just click on this and you can give your account, sign up. It's free account, so you don't have to worry. Just create your free account. Once you get your account, you will be going into this page. The list of applications that you have probably will be shown here. Okay, and let me try and delete this application if I can. Okay, let me delete this. Okay. All right. So that I can show you how the UI looks like. Once you log in, this is the page that you will see. Because I don't have any application, it says create new app. But once you create at least one, you will see the new button here. You can basically create your app or create a pipeline. Now we want to create an app. So I'll create an app. I will give an app name. I'm saying test app 1. Not available. Okay, let me say 2210. Yeah, this application name is available. Today is 22nd October, so I'm giving the date. And you just wait for this confirmation that this application is unique, right, for you. And because it has to create a URL, remember? And that URL is accessible in entire globe, anywhere, any country, you will be able to access this. So ensure that it is unique. So once you have this URL, you can leave the region as is and then say create pipeline. Sorry, create application pipeline. So you will see this particular page once you click your create application. This is basically you're looking at. You can have a pipeline created, create a new pipeline, choose an existing one, or you can do all this. If you have any pipelines, you can look at the pipelines. These pipelines basically are to connect to your various database data sources and bring the data, right? Those kind of applications. Our discussion is with respect to deployment. And as I said, Heroku needs a core repository connection. You can use the command line interface to connect with your GitHub or Git repository, or directly you can have GitHub connection here. We will be using this particular access, GitHub repository. You can click on this and it basically will ask you to log in to your GitHub account. I have already done this, so it is not asking me for the next time. But if you're doing it for the first time, then it will ask you for logging in. There will be another page that pops up and it will ask you to give the credentials of your GitHub account. I've connected to the GitHub account, and on the GitHub account, you will have to create your repository and ensure that you have the code updated. Okay, once you create the repository, it will ask you to update your code. Okay, so I will say create a new repository. You can give a repository name. I'll say test app 2210. I'll use the same name there. I can restrict it. I don't want this to be used by, or this code to be available for everybody. So I can restrict it, or you can also ensure that the code is also available for everybody. So that, people can take the code and do some kind of work on that. Then you can also add all these things. I mean, there are different things that you can do with respect to Git repository. I'm not editing anything. It's just plain simple repository that I'm creating. Once I have the repository created, there are multiple ways where you can start pushing your content into the repository. The simplest one is you can just import your code directly, right? I can go to the repository and I can try and update the code. Okay, these are the instructions that you can look at. But you can also see getting started by creating a new file or updating an existing file. So I'll click on this. This is the best way to dump the entire code that you need. You can drag your content here, the code content here. I'll try and do this. Application templates, car, these things I'm trying to drag and drop. But one important thing that we need is the requirements file, which is not there here. So what I do is I'll use this particular application. Because for this application, I have the deployment, the proc file and the requirements done. Let me show you the requirements file. For this particular code, we are talking about all the libraries that are required. Okay, these are basically creating the environment. So all those libraries that are required, these things will get installed in our application. Okay, so let me try and store this as well. I'll drag and drop here so that I get requirements file. I'll also try and update the proc file. This is also a text file. Let me try and open this with Notepad. Sorry. Yeah, I'll say Notepad. And this is all we have. This is one line small instruction. This is the standard instruction that we will have. Okay, so I will also update the proc file. Let us go to this. Okay, that's all. I have templates file. I have the code. Code is not required, of course, but I have done that. The app file, the requirements file, and the proc file. I'll commit the changes. This is your code repository. This is where your code is updated, right? So IPython notebook, the Python file, all these things are there. Now, let us go to the test application here. I'll take the question. I think there is one question. Now, once I have connected to the GitHub, you can do a simple search, or you can start typing your name, test application, right? So I'll try to type the test and say search. This is the application that I have. If you're not sure of the name, you can just say search and it will list out all the applications, your repository names here, all the repositories. So this is the repository that I've created. Hopefully this works because I'm taking the requirements from a different code and all that. Once I have updated everything, once I have connected, you can see disconnect button is showing, right? So that means it's connected. From Heroku to GitHub repository, the connection is activated. Now I want to deploy. You can basically say automatic deployments. You can do that, or manual deploy. So you can say deploy the branch. You choose main and say deploy the branch. This would probably take a little while for taking about all the requirements that your application has. Okay, all those dependencies that it has, it's trying to build it. And once the environment is ready, you will see a confirmation that the deployment is successful. And if once it is there, you can just click on the link and you will get the UI. So let me see the question in the meantime. I have created my Heroku account 2 months back. If I log in again, it's asking for authentication code. How can I get this? I'm not getting any email. Do check in your promotions and the spam folder as well. There could be an issue with that. Cross-check into these folders also. And yeah, you just delete your account and probably recreate your account if that's not working. I mean, it should not be a big problem. It should be a trivial issue. Just check in your spam folders or promotion folders. Okay. So coming back to this, you can see as the screen, right, everything is shown as green. All the tick marks are there, and it says that deployment is ready and your application was successfully deployed, and you can click on view. I click on the view and look at this. This is the Heroku application that we created, right? This is your application, and you can see the URL. This is the name, and this is your standard URL that you get. Now, in this case, I will probably give my input. Remember, we were trying to identify the fuel efficiency of some vehicle. So I'm randomly giving these numbers just to show you the result. And when I click on submit, the mileage is showing here. So I have done everything on my local machine. I have put my code repository in GitHub, and I deployed the application, mind you, not the Python code that is being asked for the end user to be executed. We are giving a URL so that the customer can feed in the input and we get the output for the customer. So this is basically how your code can be maintained. Now, any changes that you are making here obviously will be happening into your code repository, and the connection is live here. So every time when there is some kind of an update happening, you can also have this refreshed. Your application can be refreshed, and you will see that the changes are being taken care of. You basically kind of refresh the deployment, and all the changes that you're making will take into effect. It's just a click of a button again. And it also maintains the version. All right. There's a question. I think we're pressing for the time. I'll take up this question. And if you have any questions, you can post those questions on the channel. We will be taking up, and I'll try to respond to your questions post the session as well. The question says how to create a recruitment.txt file. It's requirement.txt. It's not recruitment.txt file. It's basically a requirements.txt file. The requirements text file is talking about all the Python packages which you need for deployment. So these are, any Python code that you are developing or writing, it will require certain packages to be readily available. Eventually, you will get to know this. When you run, you will get error. You will be able to see what package is missing, and then you add that into the requirement files. When you are doing any code in your Python Spider or Jupyter notebooks in your local machine, you might get to see these errors, right? Like module not found or code is not executing because of function not available. Then you know that, yes, these are the minimum libraries that I need to have, right? So requirements.txt file will contain the packages which you require for your application to work. Okay. So eventually you'll have to figure out these libraries. You'll come to know. Okay. All right. So hope you have enjoyed the session. Hope you have learned how the deployment can be done so that the end user can actually look at this web interface rather than the code. So we'll look forward to connect again in the next session. And thank you so much for connecting. Please subscribe to 360DigiTMG channel. We will come up with next week with a new tool, and we will explain how to use that tool for deployment, managing your code, managing your application, capturing the drift in the applications, etc.
Thank you, Sharath. Yeah,
my pleasure.
By a minute, but yeah, thank you so much, Sharath. Like Sharath said, please do like, subscribe, share, let everybody know, and happy Diwali.
Wish you a very happy Diwali, friends, and enjoy the weekend. Thank you so much.